When I visited the MaterialsWeek conference in Cyprus last June, I made a presentation about the advanced materials market, the state of Europe in this market, challenges that the European industry faces, and what potentially can be done to overcome these challenges. And I just thought, why not to talk about this once again on my channel, because I believe it is an extremely important topic. Moreover, I changed some of my conclusions, so here I am doing this video. I also didn't really have a chance to discuss the information I presented after my speech. We were on a really tight schedule, but I'd be very happy to do it now, and I would appreciate your input and your thoughts. Please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And also, all the links to the sources that I used when I was preparing this material will be also shared in the description. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa and I spent 5 years organizing collaborative university competitions for world well-known companies, helping them to solve their extreme innovation challenges. And now I continue my journey with the goal to foster innovation by helping different parties of the innovation process collaborate and co-create. On this channel, I explore collaboration projects for innovation management, share my experience in managing these projects and processes, and uncover strategies for making collaboration efforts more effective. Now, let me start with the fact that the advanced materials market is expected to significantly grow over the next 5-8 years. And there is no surprise, obviously, our future prosperity and innovations in other areas rely on materials and specifically advanced materials. And there is a number of innovation challenges that the advanced materials market has, and solving these challenges would definitely help companies win a part of the market, win a part of this cake, gain revenues and become leaders. So the opportunities are there. The market is growing, we have challenges that needs to be solved, but can the European companies use these opportunities? That's the question that we will discuss today. And the main problem is that solving innovation technological challenges is just one thing. But European companies, I believe, they face other more systematic, more fundamental issues. And without solving these issues, it would be difficult to overcome the innovation challenges. But let's begin with taking a closer look at the current state of the advanced materials market, its trends, and yes, those technology challenges. Just to give some examples of advanced materials market growth, according to Statista, the global market size of composites was $86.4 billion in 2020 and will amount to $145 billion in 2028. Then BCC Research claims that the global market for advanced aerospace materials is expected to grow from $26.4 billion in 2023 to $39 billion by the end of 2028. And according to the report prepared by the European Commission, global demand for batteries is set to increase 14-fold by 2030. Impressive, isn't it? Then the semiconductors market, which is on a high because of the AI development, is projected to reach $613 billion in 2024. And I don't know if we reached it, but we will need to check it a bit later, I believe. And it is expected to show an annual growth rate of 6.3 by 2027, resulting in a market volume of $736 billion by 2027. So those are just some numbers to give you an idea about the advanced materials markets, how they are growing. But of course, as I mentioned before, we face different technology, different innovation challenges that are important to solve, that we need to solve in order to reach these numbers. And yes, be sustainable and secure this sustainable and prosperous future for everyone and our planet, of course. Now, just let's take a quick look at them. We are talking about process optimization. We are talking about decarbonization of the industry. We are talking about mass customization. We are also should be talking about zero defect production. I don't know if it is possible to reach this, probably not, but we can at least hope for this. Then we're talking about circular economy, of course, then multi-materials processing, new materials processes. So we really have a lot of things to play with, to innovate for. Now let's talk about the European advanced materials industry, how it feels nowadays and which challenges it faces. Europe historically has quite some advantages in the area of advanced materials, and the European Union and its companies have all the chances to utilize these opportunities, as they have the highest share of innovation leaders, which is 41.9%, followed by China with only 70.4% and Japan with 11.5%. So we have like a big advantage here, and the US has only 4.5% of innovation leaders in this area of advanced materials. So that's a good start, right? Another advantage for the European Union is coming from a balanced industry ecosystem in advanced materials with a share of 13.7% resident companies. Looks fine so far, right? However, we should mention here the fact that the US takes a lead in the biggest and most diverse startup ecosystem, both in terms of the share of startups, which is around 50% in advanced materials, and in terms of the share of capital raised for these startups, 69.7%. The European Union accounts only for 18.6% of startups, which is less than half of that of the United States, and only for 6.3% of raised capital. Just think about it. Think about how much money the American startups get compared to the European startups. This is a huge issue, I think, because startups may offer more radical innovations. They can offer more breakthroughs. They are usually more agile and responsive to disruption in the market. Another challenge lies in the fact that the European Union industrial research and innovation investments on advanced materials are not even half of those in the United States of America. We should also mention a rising gap in patents. The EU accounts for 15% of patents in advanced materials, while the US has 28% and Japan 24%. The patent trend is rising in the US, China and Japan, but it remains stable in Europe. And I don't think there is such thing as being stable in this case. And of course, we should mention another important factor among many other acknowledged by the European Commission, which is the gap between groundbreaking research and industrial application, which influences collaboration and strategic alignment. It prevents the integration of innovation in advanced materials into industries, and this is something that we've been talking a lot about on this channel. Main breakthroughs, they happen in academic labs, but the companies, they just cannot come and take what was done in the lab and scale it up and start mass production. And what we see is how all these factors combined, they pose a threat to the leading positions of the European companies in the advanced materials markets. And I introduced these issues at the conference, but the truth is these issues are not the reasons, and I think they are consequences. But what are the reasons here? Should we talk about cultural aspects and differences between Europe, the US, China? Should we mention fundamental challenges like differences between academia and industry? Can we talk about regulations, or rather over-regulation? Should we talk about taxes? Should we talk about policies in general? Energy prices, productivity gap? Because the issues we are talking about here are not the issues of one company. They are the issues of the whole industry, and not even one industry, but the whole system. And in principle, these issues are mentioned in the Draghi report about competitiveness of Europe, and this is something like I believe that many people talk about this report right now, but we are not here to discuss it, okay? There is also one more thing that I want to mention. There is this French movie which is called Lane, meaning hate, and through the whole movie they recite a story about a man falling from a building who repeats, he's falling and repeats, so far so good, so far so good, so far so good. But it's not about how you fall, it's about how you land. And I believe we might also say this about the state of Europe in advanced materials. So far so good. We are leaders, we have our strengths, but it doesn't matter if we're falling, and we might be falling. So we need to find ways to stop this fall. Find some ledges to grab hold of. Let's talk about the ledges. What we might do in order to improve the situation, in order to secure a prosperous future for the European companies in advanced materials. Now, obviously, I would love to see more solutions on the governmental level, solutions from the European Commission, and this is something that has been discussed quite a lot. At the end of January, we got this European competitiveness compass, but I'm gonna mention it a bit later. I don't feel like I can talk about this. There are a lot of things that I don't know, and this is politics, and I don't feel like we could expect quick changes anyway. Even if we make these changes, even if we decide to make these changes straight away, like today basically, or last week, how it happened, these governmental changes will not happen quickly, so we have to work with what we have now. And when it comes to solutions, I was told that Europe is Europe, not like other regions, and European countries are not like other countries, not like the US and not like China. And it is true, it is 100% true, I agree with that, and I never planned to disagree. For example, it's difficult for the EU companies to compete with the amount of investments of some countries, of the US, for example, and especially when it comes to startups and the startup ecosystem that they have in the US due to certain peculiarities. But we should talk about finding a way that would work for us in these conditions. We cannot stay the same. We should make some efforts to change the situation. We don't want to lose. Am I right? We need to keep the competitiveness of the European industry for Europe, but also for the sake of competition. Competition is one of the driving forces. So from a strong European industry, I believe everyone would win. Even the industry in the US and China, they would win from us being strong. And of course, European companies are not only companies. All the different organizations are using some ways in order to stay afloat. And for example, there are some initiatives that exist. There was this Advanced Materials Initiative 2030, which is a great example of an initiative designed to unite different organizations from various European countries. I honestly don't know if it is still active, because there is this new innovative advanced materials initiative that has been introduced last summer exist, and it's a new non-profit association that will operate the upcoming European co-programmed partnership, all the different new initiatives, and they want to establish and maintain this cross-sectoral collaborative European-wide research and innovation ecosystem that is supposed to accelerate time to market of new sustainable innovative advanced materials and associated technologies designed for a digital circular economy. That was a long sentence. As I understand, it's a kind of an extension of Advanced Materials Initiative 2030. So, these two projects, they are connected anyway. And I do believe it's a great initiative. It's important to have it, but it's a big organization, okay? And the problem with such initiatives and such organizations, it's very difficult to manage them. You have a lot of different players with their opinions, and often the meetings that happen, they do not really lead to actions. So it should be managed properly. These meetings should be managed properly so that the collaborative part can be filled with some concrete actions, small steps to make a real difference. But I just truly hope that it will help the European industry, the European companies to communicate and cooperate and solve these important issues that we have. I wish it good luck. But is this enough? I honestly don't think so. The initiatives are really great and we need to have them. But it is more important, in my opinion, to do smaller but more practical steps, like smaller steps on all the different levels in all organizations and companies. I really believe it is really important to take a more proactive approach in fostering innovation and relying less on the government regulations and their initiatives. I mean, again, we hope that the government will change and will come up with some great actions and great plans and great acts, but we should take care of our organizations ourselves, because at the end of the day, nobody would care about us as much as we do. And it comes to companies as well, it comes to our businesses as well. I also think that we need to take more agile approach to innovation management and do more open innovation initiatives in companies, because when we discussed it with Rob Kirschbaum, when we had this interview about open innovation, he mentioned that there is still a lot of companies that haven't tried this approach. But it is a great one. It's about cooperation, it's about gaining knowledge and sharing knowledge. It is also important to decrease a level of bureaucracy and decentralize innovation. And I believe that if companies do that, if they allow their branches work more independently, they will see more innovative solutions and will be more efficient. We also talking about supporting startups and spin-offs that are able to develop these radical innovations to solve these technological problems that we have that are needed by the market. And I think that venturing is not that widespread in Europe, and often if you talk to some startups, you hear that they receive government funding, which is totally fine, but I don't think it's enough. And I do believe that the European Commission is about to make some steps towards capital, towards gathering these investments needed. But I think it would be great if more companies would explore corporate venture capital, go with first MVPs, proofs of concepts, accelerators. I also think it's important to mention some novel approaches, using some novel approaches to develop innovations and collaborate with other organizations. And obviously, companies, they do collaborate with other players, but I just know that it's often not perfect, it's often not ideal. But I do believe that becoming more open and collaborating is one of the main solutions. That's how problems are solved in case you have these insufficient resources to solve it yourself. You just look for others to work together. And I think it is extremely important to build these bridges between enterprises and universities. That's what I've been talking about again on this channel for a while. And I think that this initiative, it should be taken from both sides, because for universities, it is also important to have an innovative and successful and prosperous industry. I think that organizations, both companies and universities, might work towards creating more industry-focused research centers at the universities, Companies might invest more into collaboration with students that might later become their employees. They might work with smaller, more applied universities across Europe and other countries as well that are not included in top 100 universities. We're also talking about popularizing and promoting science and making it more appealing to the younger generation. And of course, supporting university spin-offs. And as I said, companies should do that, but universities also need to move towards the industry and their challenges, because we all are a part of the market economy, and losing market share leads to decreasing profits, which leads to decreasing taxes, which academia will also feel as cuts in programs and grants. Now, personally, I feel like the main problem with these suggestions that I just mentioned is that they are too general. And I don't like general solutions. I prefer practice. But practice and practical steps are possible only on a smaller level, on the level of a certain organization, a certain company, or a certain university. We're talking about collaborative projects or programs to organize, for example, to support specific startups or some collaborative programs with universities. Then it will be more specific. Then we will see more specific challenges that we need to solve. When we develop this program, for example, we will see what are the problems, what are the issues that we have. Personally, I'm willing to help here. If you're looking for some partners, or if you have some ideas that you want to implement at your organization and you need a person just to talk to, or to help you, someone outside of your organization, let me know. Let's discuss, let's see what we might come up with. Then I just want to say that obviously the advanced materials market offers big opportunities in its growth and perspectives, but also it sets challenges that needs to be solved. However, for the European industry to succeed and keep its leading position, it is really important to overcome these fundamental issues that we have. With limited resources, we just need to unite. Everyone, all the different organizations, all the different stakeholders. I personally believe very much in collaboration, as you might see with this channel. But yeah, I believe that's the only way, and that's the future. And that's how we would grow faster and innovate faster and reach this better, more prosperous, more sustainable future faster. Now, recently, Ursula von der Leyen made some announcements about measures to stimulate Europe's competitiveness and innovation and productivity. And when it comes to the advanced materials, we kind of can expect the Advanced Materials Act in 2026. And my only hope is that the vision will become an action. But you never know. And I think it's just too long to wait, in my opinion. Next year, it's too long. But let's see. Let's hope for the best. And I will also quickly mention that at the beginning of January, CEFIC, the European Chemical Industry Council that represents large, medium and small chemical companies across Europe, shared their report about the state of the chemical industry in Europe. And I'm going to talk about this report in the next video. Well, I hope that in this video I provided you with some information, some food for thought, and these thoughts will eventually become actions. And yeah, I just hope to see you next time. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And have a great one. Bye! I just wanted to add that literally last week, the Innovative Advanced Materials Initiative in Europe, they issued a new document, a new strategic agenda about advanced materials. And I haven't read this document yet. It's a new one. And I will just add the link to this document in the description below. You may find it interesting to read.